Good morning, students. Today's topic is anatomy of larynx. Larynx, also known as voice box. So, what is larynx? Larynx is the organ basically which is there for production of voice or phonation. Okay, so the main function of the larynx is to uh, to produce voice or in phonation, and this larynx is also known as voice box. Larynx is very well developed in humans as compared to animals. Larynx is very well developed in humans. Right now, as you can hear me speaking very clearly different phonetics, I am using my larynx to produce different alphabets, or to pronounce different alphabets, to pronounce different words, and this phonation is due to well developed larynx. If I am not having well developed larynx, then I cannot speak so fluently, or I cannot produce various types of words, or I cannot pronounce various words, and phonation is totally incompatible if anyone has uh, underdeveloped larynx. So, in humans, it is of great capability to produce a voice or for phonation. It also acts as an air passage. It is the larynx is a part of respiratory system, and it allows two-way of air gases, two-way flow of gases. Okay, and you can also see that it acts as an basically sphincter at the inlet of the air passage. This is trachea. So this is trachea, this is esophagus, this is the trachea or the windpipe, and this is the air passage. This is the uppermost part of the lower respiratory tract, and this larynx or the voice box is a sphincter at the inlet of the lower respiratory tract. And upper respiratory tract basically will include the nose, the nasal cavity, the nose, the nasopharynx, and the oropharynx. The larynx or the laryngopharynx will be the sphincter, and then we have the lower respiratory tract, which will include trachea and bronchus and lungs also. So, situation, to define the situation and extent of larynx, as you if you remember the figure, or if we can see the previous figure, then you can see easily that the larynx lies in the anterior midline of the leg. This is the neck, and this larynx lies at the anterior midline of the neck, and it will extend from the root of the tongue. This is tongue, this is tongue, this is the root of the tongue, and you can see easily that it is extending from the root of the tongue to the trachea. So larynx is situated in the at the anterior midline of the neck, and is extending from the root of the tongue till trachea. In male adults, or in adult male, it lies in front, it lies in front of C3 to C6 vertebrae. Yes, you can read here, it lies opposite to C3 to C6 vertebrae in adult men. Okay, and in case of children and females, it is slightly higher. That means it may be at the level of C2 also, and maybe C2 to C5 also. So in case of females and children, the situation of larynx will be slightly higher as compared to adult men. Okay, so yes, the writing, if you have to write the situation extent of the larynx, then you have to write that it lies in the anterior midline and extending from the root of the tongue to trachea, and from laryngeal inlet up to the lower border of cricoid cartilage. You can also write it down like this also, that extent of the larynx will be from the laryngeal inlet till the lower border of the cricoid cartilage. So this is the larynx, and it will lie opposite to the C3 to C6 vertebrae in men and is slightly higher in female and children. Now, talking about the dimension size of this larynx, so the length of larynx is approximately 44 to 45 millimeters in male and 35 to 36 millimeter in female. Yes, so as you can easily compare that in case of males, it is slightly more big in length as compared to females. So males have a big larynx, slightly bigger larynx as compared to females. In males, it is around approximately 44 to 45 millimeters, and in females, it will be around 36 to 37 millimeters. And during pubertal age, the larynx of the male develops very quickly, very rapidly, and becomes larger as compared to female. So this long length of larynx in males is due to the spontaneous rapid growth during their pubertal age as compared to females. So the pubertal growth of females, especially for larynx, is negligible. You can when you'll study developmental anatomy, then you'll come to know that the larynx in females, the development of larynx in female during pubertal age is negligible. Now, constitution of larynx or the skeleton of larynx, that will constitute cartilages. Okay, there will be skeletal framework. This skeleton of the larynx will constitute framework of cartilages, and these cartilages are joints. These cartilages are connected by joints, some ligaments and membranes. Okay, and they are also moved by the help of some muscles, intrinsic and extrinsic muscles of the larynx. And talking about the cavity of the larynx, if we'll talk about the cavity of the larynx, then you can see that the cavity of the larynx is lined by mucous membrane. So the skeletal framework of the larynx will comprises of cartilages that are total 9 in numbers. There will be 3 unpaired cartilages and 3 paired cartilages. So the 3 unpaired cartilages will be thyroid, cricoid and epiglottic cartilage, and 3 paired cartilage will include 2 arytenoid, 2 corniculate and 2 cuneiform cartilage. That totally comprises 9 cartilages, which will form the skeletal framework or the cartilages of the larynx. Okay, so you can trace in this figure, the unpaired cartilage will be thyroid cartilage. Yes, the thyroid cartilage, the cricoid cartilage, okay, and the epiglottic cartilage. So the thyroid, the cricoid and the epiglottic cartilage, these will be the 3 unpaired cartilages, and the 6 paired cartilage will include the arytenoid cartilage. Yes, the arytenoid cartilage, 2 in numbers, the corniculate cartilage, 2 in numbers, and then the cuneiform cartilage, 2 also 2 in numbers. So 2 to 4 to 6. 6 paired cartilages, 2 each, and 3 unpaired cartilages. In total, 9 cartilages that will form the skeletal framework or the cartilages of the larynx. Now we'll talk about each cartilage in detail. So first of all, we'll talk about unpaired cartilages, and among those, we will talk about firstly the thyroid cartilage. So this thyroid cartilage, as you can see in this figure, this thyroid cartilage is basically V-shaped. If you study it in cross section, then you can to know that this thyroid cartilage will be a V-shaped cartilage, and it has 2 lamellae, the right and the left. It has 2 lamellae. Okay, the right lamellae and the left lamellae, the right lamellae and the left lamellae. And these lamella, each lamella is quadrilateral in shape, is approximately quadrilateral in shape. Okay, each lamella is quadrilateral in shape, and these lamella are placed obliquely relative to midline. If you can see, this is the midline. Yes, this is the midline, and you can see the lamella. This is oblique. Yes, you can see the lamella are placed obliquely in relation to the midline. And talking about the posterior border of the lamella, so the posterior border of the lamella are far apart. Okay, posterior border of the lamella, if you can see, are far apart. But talking about the anterior borders, if we'll talk about the anterior border of these two lamella, so the anterior borders of these two lamella will join in the anterior side to each other. The anterior border of each lamella, this the right lamella and the left lamella, the anterior borders of each lamella will join at the midline, forming the angle of 90° in case of males and 120° in case of females. And the lower part of the anterior border of the right and left lamella, the lower part of the anterior border of the right and left lamella will fuse and form a median projection that will be termed as the laryngeal prominence. Okay, the Adam's apple, the laryngeal prominence. So the laryngeal prominence will be formed by the anterior borders of the right and left lamina, which is joined together. The upper part of the anterior border, talking about the upper part of the anterior border, so the upper part of the anterior border do not meet. Okay, and they are separated by a thyroid notch. They are separated by a thyroid notch. Okay, now talking about the posterior borders, so posterior borders are free. Basically, the posterior borders are free. The thyroid posterior border of the thyroid cartilage are totally free, and they are prolonging upwards and downwards. This is the posterior border of the thyroid cartilage, and they are free, and they are prolonged upwards as well as downwards, and they will form the corona or the horns. These are the cornua or the horns. These are the cornua or the horns. These are the superior cornua, and these are the inferior cornua or the horns. So okay, so these two are the superior cornua, these two are the inferior cornuas. They are basically nothing but the posterior projections of the posterior border of these two lamella of the thyroid cartilage. Now, talking about the outer surface of each lamella, if we'll talk about the outer surface of each lamella, so the outer surface of each lamella is marked by an oblique line. If you can see in this figure, it is marked by this oblique line which is extending from the superior thyroid tubercle in front of the root of the superior cornua. Yes, yeah, look at this point. This is the point where superior thyroid tubercle is present at the root of the superior cornua to the inferior thyroid tubercle behind the middle of the inferior border. Okay, around the middle of the inferior border, this is the inferior border. So this is around the middle of the inferior border, and this is a oblique line which is extending from the superior cornua, so root of the superior cornea, till the inferior thyroid tubercle at the middle of the inferior border. The thyrohyoid and inferior constrictors of the pharynx, as you can see in this figure, the thyrohyoid and the constrictor, inferior constrictor, the sternothyroid and the thyropharyngeus, these muscles are attached on this oblique line. So this, on this side also these muscles will be attached, but to visualize the oblique line, the muscles is dissected out and torn apart, and you can visualize this oblique line. So on this oblique line, the inferior constrictor and the thyrohyoid muscle will attach. Now talking about the second important cartilage, that is the cricoid cartilage. So this cricoid cartilage, as you can see in this figure, it is a ring-like cartilage. It is shaped like a ring, and it basically, you can see it totally encircles the larynx just beyond this, just below the thyroid cartilage. So this is the thyroid cartilage, and just below it we have the cricoid cartilage, which is ring shaped, which is ring shaped and is encircling the larynx. Now, as compared to this thyroid cartilage, it is thicker and stronger. This cricoid cartilage, as compared to thyroid cartilage, is more stronger and thicker, and the this cartilage is more narrower at the anterior end, which is called as the arc of cricoid cartilage, and is broader at the posterior end, and the broader part is called as the lamella. So the lamina is the broader part, and the arc of cricoid cartilage is the narrower part. Anterior narrower part is called the arc of the cricoid cartilage. Posterior broader part is called as the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. Now this lamina, as you can see here in this figure, so this lamina projects upwards. Yes, it is projecting upwards behind the thyroid cartilage. It is projecting upwards behind the thyroid cartilage, and it articulates superiorly with the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, here it is not visualized. The arytenoid cartilage is not visualized, but this lamina articulates with the superiorly with the arytenoid cartilages, and the inferior conua or horns of the thyroid cartilage will articulate with the sides of this cricoid cartilage at the junction of the arc and lamina. So at the junction, the lateral side of this cricoid cartilage, where the junction of the arc and lamina is there, the inferior conua of the thyroid cartilage will articulate there. Okay. Now talking about the last unpaired cartilage, that is the epiglottic cartilage or the epiglottis. So as you can see in this figure, it is a leaf shaped, it is leaf like or leaf shaped cartilage, which is basically placed in the anterior wall of the upper part of the larynx. Okay, you can see here. So it is a leaf like cartilage which is placed in the anterior wall of the upper part of the larynx, and its upper end, as you can see here, its upper end is totally free. The upper end is broad and is free, whereas the lower end is attached to the thyroid cartilage with the help of median thyroepiglottic ligament. Okay, now talking about the upper end, so is, as you can see, this upper end is projecting upwards behind the hyoid bone, above the hyoid bone or behind the hyoid bone and the tongue, and the lower end is also, which is also called as the stalk, it is pointed and is attached to the upper part of the angle between the two lamellae of the thigh cartilage. This is the right lamella, this is the left lamella, and the angle between these two lamellae is the point where this stalk like lower end of the epiglottic cartilage will be adhered or will be attached. Now the right and left margin, talking about the right and left margin of the cartilage, that will provide attachment to the uh, epiglottic folds. Which folds? The epiglottic folds. Here it is not labeled. The epiglottic folds attaches to the right and left margin of this epiglottis. Okay, and its anterior surface. Talking about its anterior surface, so the anterior surface is connected to the tongue uh, to the tongue and the hyoid bone also. You can see here the hyoid bone is there. So this anterior surface is connected to the tongue and the hyoid bone, and the posterior surface is covered by mucous membrane, and there will be a tubercle found in the lower part of this epiglottic cartilage or the epiglottis. The attachment of tongue with this epiglottis will be with the help of the median glossoepiglottic fold. Median glossoepiglottic fold gives attachment to the tongue with this epiglottis, and the hyoid bone will be attached. This hyoid bone will be attached by the hypoepiglottic ligament. Okay, the hypoepiglottic ligament. So this is all about unpaired cartilages of larynx. Now talking about the paired cartilages of larynx. So the paired cartilages of larynx are also three numbers. and they are, as the name, as I'm talking, that they are paired. So in total they are six. So the three paired cartilages are the arytenoid cartilage, the corniculate cartilage, and the cuneiform cartilage, which will be present within this epiglottic fold. Okay, within this epiglottic fold, there will be the third cartilage, the third paired cartilage, that is the cuneiform cartilage. Now, first of all, we'll talk about the arytenoid cartilage. So you can see in this figure, or you can trace this very easily. This is the anterior part. This is the hyoid bone, and this is the cricoid the arch of the cricoid cartilage. This is the lamella of the cricoid cartilage. Okay, the arc of the cricoid cartilage, the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. This is anterior. This side is posterior. Now, the arytenoid cartilage. This arytenoid cartilage are basically very small pyramid shaped cartilage that will lie on the upper border. That will lie on the upper border of this lamina of cricoid cartilage. Yes, and the apex of this arytenoid cartilage is curved posteromedially. You can see the apex is curved, and it is curved posteromedially, and it articulates with the corniculate cartilage. Yes, this apex of the arytenoid cartilage will be articulated with this corniculate cartilage. Base of this arytenoid cartilage, this is the base, which is concave, and this base is articulate, and this base articulates with the lateral part of the upper part of this lamella of cricoid cartilage. Now, this arytenoid cartilage is prolonged anteriorly. This will prolong anteriorly to form the vocal process. This cartilage will be prolonged anteriorly and is forming vocal process, and laterally it will form the muscular process. Okay, laterally it will form the muscular process. Now, talking about the surface of this cartilage, if this cartilage will be studied separately in 3D structure, then you came to know that there will be three surface of this cartilage. The one is the anterolateral, and the other is the medial, and the other one is the posterior. So anterolateral, medial, and posterior, there will be three surfaces of this arytenoid cartilage. Now, the talking about the second one, the corniculate cartilage. So this corniculate cartilage are also two slightly circular or conical nodules which will articulate with the apex of this arytenoid cartilages, and they are directed basically posteromedially. They are situated posteromedially to this arytenoid cartilage, and they lie in the posterior part of this epiglottic fold. This is epiglottic fold, and posterior to this epiglottic fold will be these two corniculate cartilage. The last one is the cuneiform cartilage, which are also two rod shaped cartilage, which are very small in size. They are very small rod shaped pieces of cartilage, you can say, and they are placed within this epiglottic fold. They are placed within this epiglottic fold, just ventral to this corniculate cartilage. Just ventral to this corniculate cartilage, here somewhere here is will be the cuneiform cartilages. Okay, the two cuneiform cartilages. So this is all about this is the sagittal section. So in sagittal section only you can find these cartilages, these paired cartilages of the larynx. So this is all about the paired cartilages of larynx. Now, talking about laryngeal joints. So there are two laryngeal joints that are found. The first one is the cricothyroid joint, and the second one is the cricoarytenoid joint. Okay. Now, talking about the first one, the cricothyroid joint, both these joints will be synovial. Both these joints are synovial joints. Okay. So these joints are synovial joints, both these joints. Now, talking about the first one, the cricothyroid joint, it is a synovial joint, and it is formed between the inferior conua or horn of this thyroid cartilage. This is the thyroid cartilage. Yes, it's labeled here, and this is the inferior conua of this thyroid cartilage, and it is forming joint with the side or the laterals of this cricoid cartilage. This is the cricoid cartilage and this is the lateral or side of this cricoid cartilage. This inferior conova is forming the joint with this lateral side of or the side of the cricoid cartilage, and this joint is known as cricothyroid cartilage joint. Sorry, cricothyroid joint. The movement of this joint will be around a transverse axis. Yes, it will permit a rotatory movement around a transverse axis and also gliding movements in different directions. Now the talking about if we talk about the second joint, that is the cricoarytenoid joint. So the cricoarytenoid joint again is a synovial joint and is basically formed by the artery. These are the arytenoid cartilages. And this is the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. So the joint, this cricoarytenoid joint, is formed by the formed in between the lamina of the cricoid cartilage and the arytenoid cartilage, and it permits the rotatory movement or rotation around a vertical axis, as you can see in this figure. So these arrow is shown to show the rotation at the rotation around a vertical axis and also gliding movements in all direction. So these two joints will be the laryngeal joints or the joints found in within larynx, and these joints are both of synovial type, and they basically allows gliding movement as well as rotatory movement. The cricothyroid uh, joint will allow rotatory movement along a transverse axis, whereas the cricoarytenoid joint will allow rotatory movements along the vertical axis. Now the cartilages will form joints as we have studied in previous slide, and the all the cartilages and these joints will be within its place with the help of some ligaments and membranes. Yes, the ligaments and membranes helps the cartilages to be in connection to form joints. Okay, so these laryngeal ligaments and membranes, they are basically classified in two different categories: the extrinsic one and the intrinsic one. Okay, so first of all we will talk about the extrinsic membranes or ligaments. So the first one is the thyrohyoid membrane. This is the extrinsic membrane, this thyrohyoid membrane, which connects the thyroid cartilage to the hyoid bone. Yes, you can trace in this figure. This is the thyrohyoid membrane and is connecting the thyroid cartilage with the hyoid bone, and the median and the lateral part of this thyrohyoid membrane, they are basically thickened to form the median and lateral thyrohyoid ligaments. So this membrane will give arise to the thyrohyoid membrane will give rise to the thyrohyoid ligaments, the median and the lateral thyrohyoid ligament. And these median and lateral thyrohyoid ligament are nothing but the median and lateral part of the thickened thyrohyoid membrane. This thyroid membrane will be pierced by internal laryngeal nerves and also by the superior laryngeal vessels. Okay, now the second one is the hypoepiglottic ligament. This is the epiglottis, and hypoepiglottic ligament, as we have discussed earlier, is the ligament which forms the joint between, or which forms the connection between the epiglottis and hyoid bone. Okay, so the hypoepiglottic ligament connects the upper end of the epiglottic cartilage to the hyoid bone. So here is the hypoepiglottic ligament, which is not visible here in this figure. Now the last in extrinsic ligament of uh, larynx will be the cricotracheal ligament. Okay, the cricotracheal ligament, and this cricotracheal ligament is the ligament which connects the cricoid cartilage to the upper end of the trachea. Okay, So the cricotracheal ligament is here only, which connects the cricocartilage or cricoid cartilage to the upper part of the trachea or upper end of the trachea. Now the intrinsic ligaments are nothing but a part of the broad sheet of fibroelastic tissues which are known as fibroelastic membranes. Okay, so the intrinsic ligaments are basically broad sheets of fibroelastic membrane of the larynx, and this fibroelastic membrane of the larynx is placed basically just outside the mucous membrane. Just outside the mucous membrane of the larynx, this fibroelastic membrane of the larynx is placed, and it is basically interrupted. It is this fibroelastic membrane is interrupted in between by a sinus. This will be interrupted in between or side to side by a sinus known as sinus of larynx. Okay, now the part of the fibroelastic membrane above this sinus of larynx will be known as quadrate membrane. Yes, what? Quadrate membrane. So this is the upper part of the fibroelastic membrane above the sinus of larynx and is known as quadrate membrane. The lower part of this fibroelastic membrane below the sinus of larynx is termed as conus elasticus or cricothyroid membrane. Okay, so this lower part is called as cricothyroid membrane or the conus elasticus. Now the quadrate membrane, talking about the quadrate membrane, so quadrate membrane will be extending from the arytenoid cartilage. This is the arytenoid cartilage. So this quadrate membrane will be extending from this arytenoid cartilage and will extend till epiglottis. From this arytenoid cartilage till epiglottis, this quadrate membrane will be extended, and it has a lower free border which forms the vestibule fold. This is the vestibular fold which is formed by the lower border of this quadrate membrane. Okay, the upper border, talking about the upper border, so the upper border will form the epiglottic fold. Yes, the upper border will form the epiglottic fold. So this epiglottic fold is formed by the upper border of this quadrate membrane. Now the talking about conus elasticus, so this conus elasticus or cricothyroid membrane or also known as cricovocal membrane, it will extend upwards and medially from the arch of the cricoid cartilage. This is the arch of the cricoid cartilage. So this conus elasticus will extend upwards and medially from the arch of the cricoid cartilage, and the anterior part, talking about the anterior part of this conus elasticus, so you can see this anterior part is slightly thick, and this thick part is known as cricothyroid ligament. Okay, this thick part is known as cricothyroid ligament. The upper free border of this conus elasticus will form the vocal fold. So the lower free border of the quadrate membrane will form the vestibular fold, and the upper free border or free margin of this conus elasticus will form the vocal fold. So this is all about the laryngeal ligaments and membranes, and these membranes will become broad or thick in certain places and will form the ligaments, and these ligaments will hold or form the cartilages, forming two basic joints in the larynx. The two joints were the cricothyroid joint and the cricoarytenoid joints. So that is all for today. We will continue with the larynx in next video lecture, and we'll go in detail of the cavity within larynx and then muscles of the larynx, which will include the intrinsic as well as extrinsic muscles. And then we will also deal with the movement of the vocal folds, the arterial supply and venous drainage of the larynx, nerve supply of the larynx, lymphatics, and last but not the least, the clinical anatomy of larynx. So till then, stay home, stay healthy, take care. Thank you so much.